dense as the bones would be at 25. As a matter of fact, at the age of 6, your bones are still pretty flexible. It was a Sunday. I have 3 children in the house. One is 6, one is 5, and one is 1. And the 6 and the 5-year-old boys that Sunday afternoon got a treat. They got bunk beds. Oh, were they excited. And we put the 6-year-old on the top because he was supposed to be the one that's more mature and knowledgeable, because of course what do you expect from a 6-year-old? And then we put the 5-year-old on the bottom, and we sent them to bed at the appropriate time. Now, that Sunday, and the reason I remember it was a Sunday, I remember it very well, it was because Sunday night baseball was relatively new at that point, and there was a guy whose name was Mike Mussina, who was a young pitcher at that time, and he was pitching for the Orioles. I was very excited to be watching Sunday night baseball that night because Mike Mussina, local kid, made good, was going to be pitching for the Baltimore Orioles on Sunday night baseball. Now, our house is set up that the front room, where the TV is directly beneath where the 6 and the 5-year-old boy's bedroom is. I'm trying to watch baseball. This is a priority, particularly since I was excited that Mike Mussina was playing. The 6 and the 5-year-old, well, they weren't exactly ready for bed. I'm up and down the steps in my usual calm demeanor, telling them that they need to stop fooling around. And as the hour had progressed, they had lost privileges. The 5-year-old loved watching Barney tapes. He was not going to be able to watch his Barney tapes for the next day or so, because usually, that was usually what would solve the problem. So they lost privileges for the next day, and I'm trying to watch the game, and I heard a new sound. And then I hear the 5-year-old running down the hallway screaming. So I take up the front steps. My wife was in her our bedroom, but the bedroom is in the back of the house. And the 3 of us met at the top of the steps. And the 5-year-old is yelling, "He broke his arm! He broke his arm! He broke his arm!" And I'm looking at Evan and I'm saying, "Evan, there's nothing wrong with your arm." Because I'm thinking he's yelling, "I broke my arm." But he was actually saying he broke his arm. Evan, there is nothing wrong with you. Because what am I trying to do? I'm trying to watch the baseball game. Until we see the 6-year-old coming down the hallway. 2 bones. What are your 2 bones in your arm? Radius and the ulna. Very good. Right? So here's his arm. So you have 2 bones, the radius and the ulna, right? And then this is connected to your bones that come out in your hands, right? And then you have your elbow. Seriously, right? So, and there's 1 bone in your elbow. So you got your elbow and 1. So here comes the 6-year-old down the hallway. His arm doesn't look like that. His arm looks like this. It is literally at a 45-degree angle. And I was like, oh. He did break his arm. So, all right, we're going to handle this. I went and got the van, right? So we bring him up to the Bloomsburg ER. We talked this. We had this conversation, my wife and I. We're going to bring him to Geisinger. We're going to bring him to Bloom. So let's bring him to Bloom because it's right here. So there he is. I mean, we walk into the ER, and what's your problem? My son broke his arm. Oh, yeah, your son broke his arm. Great. So we get him back there, and there's the doctor, who's a local doctor that some of you may actually know, was there, and he's like, well, we still need to get some x-rays to see what's going on. Yeah, okay, we'll send him back for x-rays, that's fine, you're going to see that it's broken. Well, here's the thing. Let's go back to collagen. There are 2 bones, right? Ulnus and the radius. One of them wasn't broken. The 1 bone on the far outside was actually bent. So this bone was bent, and then this bone had a clean break in it. And it looked, I can still see the x-ray. It looked just like that. You at your age, certainly me at my age, would never have our bones bend. But the way he fell, he actually bent the one bone and broke the other. Okay, so it actually moved pretty quick. They got him down there, they got the picture back, and the doctor says, well, we need to set it. I agree. Now, ladies, somewhere along your line, some of you are going to become a mother, right? Don't be this woman. Do not be this woman. So the doctor's like, okay, we're going to set the arm. I'm leaving. What do you mean you're leaving? I want him to associate pain with you, not with me. And the woman left with a screaming 6-year-old. Okay, so the doctor at this point, this was my only mistake of the night. Only mistake of the night. The doctor says to me, well, we can give him a pain medication, and that can set in and I can set it, or I can just set it right now. And I'm like, well, you went to medical school. And he's like, well, let's just set it. I'm like, okay. Now, my son Marty, he's been talking since he's been 14 months old. Smart kid, right? So the doctor goes to Marty. And again, we know this guy. The doctor goes to Marty. Okay, Marty, I'm going to count to 3, and the pain's going to go away. Okay. So he looks at me, he's like, not going to be a problem. I said, great. He goes, okay, Marty, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Marty is still screaming. The doctor turns and looks at me and goes, I didn't get it. Now, at this point, he turns and looks at Marty. Now, I will remind you, Marty is a very intelligent young child. And I'm not saying this. Kid has an engineering degree, flying jets now.
I still beat him in AP Calc.
You still beat him in AP Calc. Evan got a 5 on his AP Calc. Marty got a 4 on his AP Calc. And we will point out on 1/4 Evan Davis is above Marty Davis on the list. We will point these things out. But in general, Marty, you would have to argue, had high SATs, the whole. But at 6 years old, when someone says to you, okay, we're going to do this again, at 6, you don't know that big word that Marty was searching for. I could see in his brain, he's searching for that 1 4-letter word that he wanted to say to the doctor. But I knew at that age he didn't have it. And I was just like, wanted to say it too. So he's like, Marty, we need to count to 3 again. And Marty's looking for that big F-bomb, right? But it just wasn't there. So the doctor was like, all right, whatever. And that time it snapped into place and Marty stopped screaming. And I'm thinking, dude, you're lucky, because I was getting hot. This will never happen to you if you fall playing field hockey, if you fall wherever. You are never going to bend your bone. Why? Because at the age of 18, not a problem. It's going to break. But he was able to take this. He had to bend this one and put this one back into place. And it's well now. I mean, Marty's